You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the June 26, 2024 meeting of the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening. Going to call the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission for Wednesday, June 26, 2024 at 4 p.m. to order. If we please stand for the pledge. Adam?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Mary Jane.
Adam Karoga,
Present.
Michael Rosenbaum,
Present.
Scott Cooley,
Here.
Tom Fath,
Present.
Randy Novak,
Present.
Mark Parkman,
Here.
Rich Mrzinski,
Here.
Jennifer Farley. Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of tonight's agenda.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions, additions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Public comment. Public comment is now open. Anybody from the public who would like to speak? Anybody on Zoom? Anybody from the public? Public comment is now closed. Approval of the minutes from our last meeting.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Next, communications, Mary Jane.
Communications for the month from May to April. Auditor's request for the treasurer's report, and we reconciled the treasurer's report. Auditor's office to prepare the June 24th automated POs, picked up and sorted mail and filed same, delivered POs to the auditor's office for processing. We received our tax distribution, distributed agendas to the media. We received a change of address for Sender Dalton for their new offices, and I reminded them that they need to change their address in the auditor's office. Transmitted minutes and other documents to Bailey to post on the website. The Golden Spike celebration invitations were sent. Attorney DiMartino read the 421 utilities. The forest easement is still the remaining easement. Utility bond payments breakdown. The auditor asked for when the bond payment was due. We got the date, and then we broke down where the payments were to come from, and the 421 utility bond payment was made. And we received email from the county auditor confirming he received our tip capture notice for 2025. End of communications.
Thank you. Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report, US 421 tip. This is including your spring distribution allocation. $427,933 US 421 TIF. Your US 421 TIF 2 has $106,275, but that money was used for the bond payment. KIDC TIF $147,401. 39 North TIF $106,583. This is all after your claims today. End of treasurer's report.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Moving on to the claims. First one out of the KIDC TIF claims in the amount of $3,098.33.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Next one is 421 number 1 TIF, totaling $2,338.98.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next one is 39 North. Claims totaling $2,598.34.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So claims tonight totaling $8,035.65. Moving on to old business, Matt Reardon, 421, I-94, TIF update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and commission members. I don't know if you're aware, there's a new hotel going up at 421 and 94. That's good stuff. Regarding our project that we were working on with Great Lakes Capital, they're still in flux, but we're prepared to move forward. They indicated a couple months ago that if they were going to move forward, they would contact me towards the end of summer. So I'll reach back out to them and, at the end of this month or beginning of next month and see where they're at with the project. And let's see what else. The utility project's just about wrapped up. I think we do have all the easements and paperwork done. I think our attorney has a side job as a bail bondsman. He tracked down the signature for one of the people that was allegedly not of this earth anymore, so that was quite a feat. But we needed to get all that information. On a serious note, to get that to Michigan City as part of the deal for them to continue with the utility projects and to finalize that. So Attorney DiMartino, are we all clear with all the easements at this juncture?
Yes, sir. President Novak just signed the assignment. We'll get it notarized tomorrow. Mitch will get it recorded. We'll get it over to Jim Myers.
Okay.
We're just waiting for we're waiting for the finishing of the lift station.
Yeah, transfer.
Transfer station.
Yeah,
We're
we're
waiting on
stand with
transfer
that.
switch. The part is still delayed. And what I've heard from Mr. Miller latest was end of July now. So we're still holding $25,000
And it's only
in retainage.
it's only a few $1,000 switch.
Yeah, with the labor, yeah, I would say 3 to 5, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And you know this as well, council meeting. It was brought up by Mark Agalski that there's a drainage culvert on 300 North that was impacted, I guess. And so I guess we went out there yesterday and today and looked at it. It looks like it has collapsed. Mr. Agalski sent me some pictures of equipment that was on top of it, supposedly. Looks like that's the case. I spoke to Mr. Miller about this, and he said look into it, because I said, hey, looks like you're at fault here. Let's take care of this. The material cost is $580. So if he doesn't take care of it, this would be a question for maybe you, but if he disagrees, the material cost of $580 and the highway department agreed to do the labor for free and put it in. Normally that's how that works. If anybody needs a drainage pipe, new pipe put in, they pay for the pipe, and then the highway department does the labor associated with that install.
I guess the difference would be is one that's fine that way, but obviously if it disputes it, then it's a dispute. It's not a.
Yeah.
We still need to fix it, but
So what's the question?
We could take out the 25,000, I guess, is my. We
right.
could go
That's
that
why I
way,
think
too.
he's asking. Said
Well, I
something
mean,
can be done.
hopefully we can come to some agreement.
Exactly.
I mean, if the equipment was on the area of the culvert where it collapsed, I mean, if he wants to do that dance, we can do it.
Yeah. But the material costs only $580, so it's not.
Yep.
So hopefully he takes care of himself. If he doesn't, we have 25,000 we're retaining, so we could give him the difference of 450 when he gets a transfer switch in.
Definitely. All right. Thank
Just
you.
want to bring it up to the board, though.
All right.
This kind of transpired last couple of days.
Got it. Thanks, Mitch. Anything else?
And that's the same property of the gentleman who actually went and signed the easement for us. So he was being really good to us. So.
Okay.
I guess I'd make a statement or a question. The taxpayers are paying for the county to put that in. That fee should be included in that cost if it goes that route. From a,
Talking about the highway
Labor.
department's labor.
yes, there's expenses you know, if you're sitting back and saying, well, it's $580 if you don't do it, might just say, okay, I won't do it. But if you include the labor and the machine time and stuff, which is an expense that the county has on a, you know, it's different than a resident calling and replacing a culvert in my mind. So just
And
food for
if
thought.
Mr. Miller wants, he could go replace it himself.
He can. I gave him that option.
And that's within his scope of work.
How deep is the culvert?
It's not
I
very
doubt it's
deep.
much.
I haven't gone out there to look at it, but I'm thinking it's, 12 inches, 15, something like that.
I would imagine that that's what he will do, but I'm just saying it ought to be more than just the material.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Anything else, man?
Yes, sir. Project Vladimir, our friend that owes us the 75,000. He sent me over his communication with IDEM, and they have some responsibilities that they need to take care of with IDEM. After reviewing the letter, I responded to him and saying, there's nothing we can do as an entity or would be recommended to get engaged in this discussion with IDEM, and that he strongly recommended to follow their recommendations and get it done as soon as he can, or he won't build anything else on the property, period. IDEM's letter was pretty direct, indicating that they needed to follow a little more closely, if you will, the recommended mitigation agreement that they had, and so that they're working towards it.
Right.
And
Great.
that's all I have.
Anything else on the 421?
No, sir.
Thank you. KIP.
We received 4 bids for the design portion or identification portion for the easements of the roadway. We are notifying the submitters today. The lowest, most responsible bidder was Tony Hendricks Company. We received, like I said, 4 bids. The purpose of the bids was to utilize ready money, so we'll submit that. And there's approximately $70,000 left. Mitch, do you recall off the top of your head what the bid was from Tony's company? It was
It was 20,000 all in, I believe.
so we'll go through that paperwork exercise. Let him and his company know they've been hired to do the work. As we continue down the process, we'll, the next iteration is once we have the identified parcels and the legals, and the that information will be sent to the property owner's registered receipt. They need to sign it. Anybody we've met with out there, we've told them that directly, and we'll be able to at least have an easement for the county where the roadways are, so that we can procure grants and or allocate some resources and government funding on these properties where they become spending money on an easement and not private property. So it's taken too long to do this, but it needed to be done. And there's 113 separate parcels, just so you know. So it's not it's a fun paperwork exercise to get through, but it needs to be done.
Definitely.
There are two different type of projects that are brewing out at the Kingsbury right now related to technology. The big question of the day is power and the ongoing discussions with our power provider in the area. So there's really not a lot we can do except facilitate discussions which are ongoing. So that's a good thing, I feel. The majority of these leads that Bailey is responsible for packaging our submittals for really lead to Kingsbury. We have a lot of there's an uptick of manufacturing, and because the zoning is what it is there, this leads them to a perfect location. And because 39 North is no longer in our purview, I assume that Bert and the gang are taking care of that and submitting those as well. And so that's the update there. There's a couple of things that came to light when I went out and followed up on a business retention project out there with I want to say it's Hyler Industries, but Mike, who is that? The
Accurate Castings,
no, not Alexander. The mold people.
Kingsbury Casting, and
Very
Accurate
Castings, yeah. So the commissioners own acreage next to this. There's a building on it. I think it'd be worthwhile to do some due diligence on the viability of clearing that building and making that property for sale. You know, it's I want to say approximately 40 acres or so, and it doesn't look so great. We'll walk through there, and I was like, oof. But it's just abandoned. It's sitting there. I know that at one point the county put the 911 tower back there on the property, but the rest of it is sitting there. I mean, without, you know, at least I can get some pricing on demo and maybe get a preliminary phase 1 done just to have an idea.
Is it being, is any part of it?
There's nothing on it. I mean, no.
So, we'd like to entertain that. I think it'd probably be a good idea to get a price on cleaning it up, especially with everything that's going out there, so. Anybody wanna make a motion to at least get a price on what it would take? You need to get more than one price.
Absolutely, I'll make the motion.
And I'll second.
Right.
Yeah, I need to get preliminary environmental done and then a guesstimate on demo.
Yeah, all right, we got a motion and a second. Is there any other questions?
Just one note, and I'm sure you already know this, Matt, is just the fact that the understanding of risks of asbestos and everything else, I think
It
they
is.
said.
Yep. Well, we were out there, so I'm tromping around without a mask on. And the gentleman from Mr. Miller from the company goes, yeah, there's asbestos up there. And I'm like, oh, we should get out of here. So, but it's the county's, we own it. It happened on a tax sale, so we should try to do something. If the county doesn't do anything about it, nobody will sit there. There may be an opportunity to sell it to the existing business. They may want to put some of their product and materials on there, and you know, at least it'll look a little bit better than what it does now.
Definitely, yeah.
The only thing is that we should notify the commissioners, well, he's here, but
Well, we're not
do we need to?
We're
Not spending any
we're
money
just
yet.
getting a price.
Yeah, but
I'm
let
just-
them know that we're interested in doing this.
Well, I mean, you know,
Rich?
Yeah, I've already.
Rich, we're gonna get a
We're
price.
notifying you
I
now.
think that's a good idea.
Telling you now.
Thank you.
I've brought it up to one of my commissioners that I talked to about, we should just take that 40 acres and turn it over to RDC and let them develop it.
so before we take on that one,
Yeah.
Second.
we'll
Get cleaned up first.
well, we'll figure out what's out there. I mean, somebody has to do something, or we can just leave it alone.
Right.
But it's sitting there. It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
If somebody came along and said, "I need 40 acres of property in an industrial site," and we could say, "We have it. It's right here. It's
Right.
at zero cost," it could be helpful.
All right.
It's right off a third line.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
One other quick note, looking at it, you've got a rail spur that runs right behind it.
Correct. Yes, sir. We do.
And you're just not bringing this up?
See what happens when you're roaming around out there in Kingsbury?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff there.
Find any mushrooms?
Now, not that I can remember.
Just one quick question to an earlier note during KIP. With all the parcels that we're looking at getting the easements on, Mitch, is there any risk of any property owned fencing, things like that, that are going to interfere with the easements that you know of off the top of your head?
Not top of my head, no.
Okay.
I don't think there's, I'm trying to think any fencing.
It's got pretty good setback.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, any fence I do know would be behind the business. Or this for storage of equipment maybe or something.
Yeah,
I'm
just-
trying to think anything close to the road. I can't even think of that right now.
I didn't think so either, but I can't say to be the expert out there. So
Yeah, you know.
Well, what we're not going to do is create a problem trying to solve a problem.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
you know.
You want to give a quick update on the Golden Spike moment?
Yeah, it happened.
Yeah.
There was, it was a nice event that Jim and Kim did from JBC Rail. They seemed pretty happy about it. There was a lot of excitement, and representatives from CSX were there, and you know, we had a good crowd and surprising amount of fireworks for the middle of the afternoon. Which I've been to a handful of groundbreakings, but never had that one.
That was,
Never had that one sprung on me. I was like, well, okay.
Uncalled for.
Rich. But they're excited, and the press did a pretty good job of covering that. Sometimes, you know, Kingsbury, and I wasn't kidding when I said it really is in the middle of nowhere, but it can be effective because of the amount of property that's available and the connectivity. And so it was, like I said, nice event. Randy got to say a few words, and so did Rich, and Kim and Jim,
so
and
did Matt.
So did I, and it was good. So it's good to see some positive vibe going on with what's happening. So it was that's not always the case with development, but it was pretty exciting. So it was great to be there. The other project that we're going to move forward on has to do with Alexander Chemical. We, as a direct result of the BRE visits, Bailey and I will be working on in the incentive package along with Mary Jane for the project. They're in competition for a new automated tank refurbishment operation. I think it's the best way to describe it. Right now they do all these things manually. There's a federal mandate to update the tanks every 5 years. And what they identified was there's a market around there, not just for their use, because they were doing it for themselves, but around this area. I want to say that they commented there was like 1 million tanks that need to be refurbished every year, that keep cycling for all the industrial gases and everything. And they mentioned they're looking at Michigan, they're looking at North Carolina, looking in Illinois, and looking at Kingsbury. So we're going to work, our team here is going to work together on the abatement strategy. We're also working on industrial revenue bond strategy for low interest financing for them to get the project done. They will, bear with me a second, they'd create 15 new jobs. The average wages of those are 25 to 26 an hour. And it's a fully automated facility for hydrostatic testing of cylinders. So as they were explaining, when some of those or one of those has a leak, but then it depends on what it is. It's obviously very volatile and very dangerous. It can be. So this is a iteration of their own company that this grew out of a need for their own company, and they recognize an opportunity to do it for more. So there'll be a little more growth. This is in addition to the corporate headquarters project, which they're still proceeding with. So it'll be another project, and total estimated investment is at this time was about 15 million. So again, I just want to make the board aware that it's a competitive process. So we'll continue to work with them, and if they're on a fast track, we'll report back at the next meeting.
Great, thank you. 39 North.
A request for funding was made by the city of LaPorte to assist with the finalization of the senior living center on 39 North. It appears that they're getting real close, and they had a dialogue with the LEAP and Bert Cook and the mayor over there, and they requested an amount of assistance for public infrastructure, not dissimilar to what the council did and the commissioners did for the other housing project in LaPorte City. It'd be my recommendation, because the TIF district needs to be unwound, or the city will take the torch over, one of the two, and I'm still waiting on their request to this body to present it. Do they want to collapse it, or do they want to start a new one? But there is a sum of money there, and either that money gets loosed back to the overlapping districts, or you can still focus that on the project. It's still a county TIF.
So the request would be for the 106,000.
Well, something like that, like $100,000.
And then we're at zero, and they can make the transfer. And
Yeah, we got to figure out. Like I said, there's a way to unroll this, and they haven't decided yet. I mean, I don't know what the best way. Somebody has to do some math.
well, it's good that project's finally moving forward.
It's been a while, right?
Years, yeah.
Yeah. So I would need a motion to do that. I mean, there'll be some, I don't know, Attorney DiMartino, do we need to do a development agreement, or what do you think?
I don't quite understand exactly what LaPorte is asking at this time. I've not been in the loop, so I can't.
Okay. This is a request for participation on the public improvements needed for a development project in the district. So if it was still
We would need an interlocal agreement with
local
them.
agreement, okay. So I'll coordinate with Attorney DiMartino on that paperwork and language.
So it's not to
If
wipe out our funds, and then they can take over.
Right, we're gonna have to look, but I guess that's, we need to get all this situated at the same time.
Is this,
Are we gonna dissolve our TIF? Are we gonna move our TIF? Are they gonna take over the TIF? What,
Are we gonna
what's-
extend, are we still looking at extending ours out to?
That's always an option, but would have nothing to do with what the city's gonna
Right,
do.
okay.
But I think what
Totally different.
Guy's talking about is doing it all at once. So I'll have some dialogue with Leap and Bert and say, okay, tell us how you want this to end.
Right.
And give us the paperwork. It all needs to be done in a local agreement, and then we can work on it.
Right, so the reason why is because right now we have the carrot.
Yes.
You know, and if they want money,
I get it.
Yep.
this is a project that's already existing, or this would be a new project?
this is the nursing home,
Yeah.
the assisted living with Ken Arnold, with
They're next to
with
the
Ed Arnold.
motel.
It's been in the works for 8 years. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But the city seemed to know that they're gonna push it across the finish line with the water sewer situation that got solved. There was a big concern about fire protection and getting all that unwound, and this got it unwound.
Yeah, twice it came in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals because of water concerns, whether that be from the 39 North Conservancy supply or other retaining ponds, in order to manage both. Mostly it was for hydrant water, right? To be
Yeah.
able to run the
Fire
emergency
protection.
sprinklers.
Yep.
We met with them several times.
Oh yeah. Several
And
times.
I think they finally got everything completed to the
Right.
satisfaction. Then I think everything just kind of waited on the annexation. So
Yes. So the motion. Well, yeah, I'd need to direct Attorney DiMartino to work with, the city attorney to in an interlocal agreement.
I guess, are we in favor of doing that if
Yeah.
we're gonna extend ours north? Do we wanna do it, use that money that way?
this money can't go with us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
okay.
different allocation
Money
area.
can't. So
Yeah,
this
have to
money
stay with the allocation
got to do
area.
something with the money. Either
Alright.
hand it to them or
Okay.
yeah,
Or spend it.
put it on a project.
Personally, I'd like to see it go towards a project instead of just handing
Right.
it over.
Well,
But
you do,
I'm
yeah.
new to this board.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a retirement home. Hey, I might.
That's
I'm looking up here. We all might.
Hey.
the bad news is only 4 out of 7 of us get a room. So we gotta flip coins.
Double up.
So is there a motion to ask our attorney to engage with LaPorte City to make this?
So moved.
Obviously, it'd be coming back to us for final.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. Is there any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Moving on, 3594. Ray of Sunshine.
I had a conversation with Guy DiMartino today with the impetus being the ARP funds that were set aside for this project, and then the timelines associated with it. So we've set an internal deadline for determination for the project. So we need to know certain if it's going to move forward. What did we say in the next 2 months? We said.
We said September 1st.
Yeah. So we'll get an answer from Patrick whether they're going to do it or not. I just with the discussion is there's other projects that could use the money and to move forward. As the board might recall, the ways that was structured was very similar to our discussion with the Michigan City 421 project. Part of it was ARP money. The other part was bond money done by the company would be the obligated to repay the bonds. So we'll try and circle that up before September 1, and then if it doesn't work, we'll send that back to the council for other projects.
Great. Thank you.
We do.
That's it?
That's it.
Any new business? Mary Jane? Anything? No? Other business?
Great.
Oh,
Hey, Carlton Bishop. I work with Matt, Mike Seitz, Bailey, Mary Jane, Economic Development for LaPorte County. I just wanted to say thanks to Tom Fath. He organized something with New Durham Estates and LaPorte Housing for us to go out in a group and check out these builds for cross mods. And I'll tell you, they were amazing. So they're kind of pushing that stereotype of what, you know, a modular home is. And if you walk up to them, I mean, they look amazing. They look like they're site built. Even the garage is built after the home gets assembled. So it was a great experience. I think Clayton is like one of the #1 builders in the U.S. And it's great that they're in Indiana and they're right here. So I just wanted to, again, and you can fill stuff in too, Tom.
Yeah,
thanks again for organizing that for
Yeah, it was an interesting tour. I haven't been there in 6 years, and just in the last 6 years with them building the homes to the DOE's zero energy standards.
Right.
It's all the little, you can see it in the process is how they're sealing the homes up, changing the HVAC, the furnace, the water, the hybrid hot water, hybrid hot water heaters. It's just really interesting to see how they've tightened up their envelopes on the homes. But I'd like to say there are a lot, Indiana's the hub. There's several manufacturers of modular homes. Mark, he'd very aware of like Heckman Homes. You got Rochester do modular, Champions out there, but that's where it was kind of born. And it's all sitting there in northern Indiana.
Well, I really like the price point too, because I mean, what would you say that would be? Around 200,000, which hits a lot of the problems that we have for affordable housing in the county, which we love. I mean,
Yeah. So yeah, the cross-mod product was kind of traditionally manufactured homes on property. Financing was very tricky, but Fannie Mae and Freddie came out with programs so they can do the lower interest loans, 30-year mortgages on them, because these can be set on private property, they can be set in a community, but it's definitely a different twist in the way they pack, because they're manufactured in a facility to get these energy standards. It's all approved, the plants are certified, so you're able to get more rebates from your utility. I won't say, you know, but there's a lot of opportunities there, and the inspection process is a lot easier, even from a local inspector.
Right.
A lot of it's inspected by a third party, 70% of it before it leaves.
they look nice and they're built fairly fast. So
Are these titled or are these real property?
Modular homes are not titled.
Right. Okay.
Manufactured homes with the cross mod, they're titled until they go onto property, and then they retire the title. So
So then you deed it. So it's real property.
Yep.
Both the structure and the land.
that's
Real
what
property.
they corrected
Okay.
through this.
Well, that sounds great then.
So they do have one at the RV Manufactured Hall of Fame, our museum in Elkhart. They got a cross mod set up there. If anybody ever wants to do a tour of, they got
I know a guy that could set one up.
and they do have a lot of. There's a lot of retailers that. I mean, there's several manufacturers of these homes. There's a lot of retailers that can set them up in the county, and I mean, there's a lot of options out there. So.
Now I'm going off of memory and I'm going off your description, but it sounds like these would be something that are able to go out into the county and don't have to be on a trailer court manufactured home property or anything like that.
The cross mod was designed for private property. You can put them in a community, but they were designed for private property. And they're doing them and using them as infill in Atlanta, Georgia right now. Kentucky just started a new subdivision with them. They kind of got an interesting twist to them because you're able to get these energy standards. You're not having to send out a third party to inspect as they're being built.
Yeah, it was great to just see what they did in that factory. I mean, they're putting in all the plumbing, electrical work, like everything that's hard to get to. It was great. Like just to see how easy, because you make mistakes if you start building it on the premises because it's hard to get the proper lighting. They had like thousands of dollars in just lighting that just zoomed in all the areas where everything goes. It was really cool to see. It was like a well-oiled machine. It was.
So if you recall from our 2 council meetings ago for some of us, the price point for affordable housing came up as being contentious. And then you also have the joint zoning ordinance that says you can't have a mobile home out in the county without a special exception. This kind of fixes that. At least gives a solution.
Yeah, so
This is not a mobile home, exactly. That's what I'm saying, is you've got the price point options, the rapid manufacturing options,
Right.
and you've got the fact that you don't need a special exception.
and the cross mod is an industry like standard. So it's you got manufactured homes, you got a cross mod, you got modular homes. They just created a new they all have cross mods have very specific standards. So it's It's not like putting a manufactured home, a box out, or a single section out on private property. It's got its own
Yeah,
standard.
it doesn't even look like it. I mean, the things they do with the roof, it's amazing. It looks like just a spec built home just on a site. It was 100% developed. It does to me. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it requires at least a 412 roof pitch. I think some companies have standardized on a 512 roof pitch. It's got to have an attached garage. It's got to have a built-out porch. It's got to be on a permanent foundation, so it's got to be on a crawl space or a basement. So
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mike Seitz with, excuse me,
You're talking about the task force?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mike Seitz, Office of Community and Economic Development. We held our first LaPorte County, St. Joe County task force meeting, and which we met with representatives from economic development of St. Joe County, with the governmental officials of St. Joe County, representatives of New Carlisle or New Prairie School System, and of course our county officials, and we talked about the development out there in New Carlisle. I really thought it was a real good meeting. I really got the impression from everybody that everybody was really pleased to meet and working together. We're in the process of identifying parcels of land that might be developed for housing projects out close to the border of St. Joe County. We're also looking at extending the water comes from the city of South Bend to New Carlisle.
Sewer comes from South.
Sewer comes from South Bend.
Water comes from
Thank you.
Carlisle.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And we're looking at extending that from New Carlisle into LaPorte County. So we've got a lot of work to do, but I thought it was a good meeting.
And we're going to have regular meetings with them, and it's not like we're bothering them. I mean, they're openly engaging,
Yes.
and wanting to work collaboratively.
I got that impression
Yeah,
too.
I did too.
It was really good. And then I know I talked to Guy, and sooner or later we're going to have to probably do a memorandum of intergovernmental
Understanding.
agreement or something like that.
Definitely.
So,
Thank
okay.
you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Is there one last thing? And Matt and I have talked. Go ahead.
It was on this topic. I was hoping that we could start putting this listing as old business so that we can keep getting monthly updates on this if it's possible. Just because the interest is there and it's moving on a monthly basis. So this way we can get report back of, if there's any new, anything new. And if there's nothing new to discuss, then we just don't discuss. But I'd rather keep it highlighted and that's the president's prerogative. So,
All right.
thank you.
The other thing that we talked about doing is getting a county map, and right now the county doesn't have a GIS guy. But we'd like to get a map that shows all the sewers coming out of LaPorte City, coming out of Michigan City, the ones that are available and everything.
So we actually did get the Hudson Lake sewer map, and we're going to take that to the next meeting. So we're kind of building, our map now, and then we're going to meet with them, and we're going to kind of go over all that data together to build like a joint map, because they made a good point, right? They said, well, if you want us to do A, well, why don't you do B? Or what about your resources? And we said, yeah, that's a great thing, right? Like, let's get everything together, all the data, but we're ready for that next meeting, and we've been working on that.
Right, but it'd be nice to have it throughout the entire county, because the
Right.
sewers are coming out of Westville heading north to PNC, so PNW. So it's nice to know, because there are sewers extending out there that not everybody knows, and especially in the water also. So I think it would help us when we're sitting down looking at these parcels to better understand.
The regional sewer water
You
district.
got that? Well, so bring us a map. That's why I was kind of thinking that.
And I gave him the newest one for Saucony and the Hudson, the planned.
Do you have a countywide one that shows everything?
Yeah.
You have a Michigan City one?
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I think I did receive that.
Really?
Yeah, but it's 3 or 4 years old. I have to look.
Anything else? You
I
got
could draw more lines.
No, I was just going to point to Mitch for the regional sewer stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Great.
So we're ready for that second meeting, and that's a great idea. I mean, Mike's on top of keeping all that stuff going forward. Thanks.
Definitely. You know what's next on the agenda?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed?